All right. Ready to dive into something pretty interesting with me today? We're going to be taking a look at Amazon Q.
Oh, yeah. I've heard that phrase floating around.
Yeah, it's one of those tech buzzwords, right?
Yeah?
That everyone's kind of whispering about, but
Yeah.
nobody really knows what it is.
Right. Good luck getting a straight answer from Amazon on what it actually is.
Exactly, exactly. It's like we're piecing together a puzzle
Mm-hmm.
with like little bits of information from product releases and, those like speculative tech articles, whatever we can find.
That's what makes this so intriguing, though, wouldn't you say?
Exactly. And that's exactly what we're going to do today.
Yeah.
We'll be your guides.
Yeah.
We'll be connecting the dots and trying to figure out what this Q could mean for the future of, well, everything.
Yeah.
How we shop, how we interact with technology, maybe even how we live our lives.
It really could be anything based on the research you've provided.
Oh,
It could
yeah.
be a next-gen AI device
Yeah.
that goes way beyond what Alexa can do, some are saying. Others say it's about revolutionizing retail with something called Q-commerce,
Q-commerce. Okay.
which promises unbelievably fast and personalized shopping experiences.
Okay.
Some are even saying that Q isn't even a product at all.
Hmm.
It might be more like a secret weapon in
Oh.
Amazon's tech arsenal, like a powerful suite of AI and developer tools.
Oh, so it's like behind the scenes.
That could change the game for a lot of industries.
Right. It's like the picks and shovels of the gold rush.
Exactly. And, one thing that keeps coming up in the research is that
Yeah.
Amazon Q, whatever it is, appears to have AI at its core.
That makes sense. I mean, they're already using AI for like everything.
Right.
Recommending products to running their warehouses.
It's only natural that they would try to take it to that next level.
So it sounds like they're really trying to position themselves to be like the dominant force in the future of AI.
That seems to be the trajectory.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's start with something tangible.
Yeah.
We've got all this buzz around Amazon Q potentially being this like revolutionary new device. What have you gathered from the research about that?
Well, there's speculation that it could be a voice-activated AI assistant,
Okay.
like Alexa on steroids,
Okay.
but instead of just like responding to commands, right, like we do with Alexa now, Q would be supposedly more intuitive
Oh.
and proactive.
Yeah.
It'd be anticipating your needs
Okay.
based on your habits, your preferences, maybe even your mood.
Oh, wow. So it's not just saying, hey, Q, play some music.
Right.
It's more like, hey, Q, I've had a rough day. What can you do to like help me relax?
Yeah, exactly.
And then boom, it sets the mood, orders takeout, maybe schedules a massage.
It's about that deeper level of personalization
Uh-huh.
and integration than we've ever seen before.
Wow.
And get this, Q wouldn't just be confined to your home.
Oh, really?
It could potentially integrate with your phone, your car, even like brick and mortar stores,
Oh.
creating a truly seamless experience wherever you go.
Hold on. That sounds like a little science fiction-y.
It does, yeah.
Are we talking about like a device that knows me better than I know myself?
Possible.
I mean, that's kind of raising some serious privacy concerns for me.
It's a good point to bring up,
Yeah.
and one that several sources do mention, is that Amazon may be incorporating technology like Amazon Titan.
Amazon Titan, what is that?
That's their own internally developed
Whoa.
large language models, LLMs.
I've heard of those. Aren't those like the brains behind those super realistic chatbots?
Yes.
The ones that can hold conversations and write different kinds of creative content?
Exactly. Precisely.
Wow.
And that is an incredible advancement in AI.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it is a bit unnerving to think about
Yeah.
giving a device that level of access to our lives.
Right. Exactly.
A few sources speculate that Amazon will have to address those privacy concerns very carefully if they want people to trust Q and really embrace it.
I mean, I would love for a device like that to take care of all those little tasks for me.
Right.
And make my life easier.
Right.
But I'd also want to know like exactly what information it's collecting and how it's being used.
Absolutely. Transparency and user control would have to be a really crucial part of that.
Yeah.
But, it's important to remember that this is just one interpretation
Yeah.
of Amazon Q.
Yeah.
There's another side to this whole thing that might be even more intriguing, and that's the idea of Q-commerce.
Okay, Q-commerce. What is that all about?
Yeah.
Is it just like a fancy word for online shopping?
It is online shopping, but taken to a whole new level.
Okay.
Imagine a world where you get whatever you want,
Uh-huh.
whenever you want it, practically instantly.
Hmm.
That's what some are saying Q stands for in this context. Quick, like quick commerce.
Quick commerce. Okay.
Think ultra-fast delivery on-demand services.
Okay.
Basically a future where Waiting more than a few minutes for anything feels like an eternity.
Whoa, hold on.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty ambitious. I mean, isn't that level of speed, like, logistically impossible?
It would be difficult, for sure.
For most things, yeah.
But there are clues that Amazon is already building the infrastructure for this.
What kind of clues?
Well, they're investing heavily in drone delivery,
Mm-hmm.
autonomous vehicles, and hyper-localized fulfillment centers.
Oh, you mean those, like, mini warehouses they're putting in neighborhoods?
Exactly. Instead of having those massive warehouses that are miles away,
Right.
they're bringing the products closer to the customer.
Yeah. Okay.
And this is where AI comes into play again.
Mm-hmm.
You know, those sophisticated algorithms that we were talking about earlier
Yeah.
would be crucial for predicting demand,
Okay.
managing inventory, optimizing delivery routes,
Mm-hmm.
essentially making sure the entire system runs smoothly.
So, are we talking about robots zipping through the streets delivering packages?
Mm,
Or is it still going to be like human delivery drivers?
Probably a combination of both.
Okay.
I mean, Amazon's already testing those little delivery robots, right?
Yeah.
And their cashierless Amazon Go stores show they're serious about using technology to automate retail.
Right. So it sounds like Q-commerce is basically Amazon taking everything that they're already good at, like fast shipping,
Mm-hmm.
personalized recommendations, using technology to make things more efficient,
Yeah,
and just cranking it up to 11.
that's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
If they pull it off, it could completely change how we shop
Mm-hmm.
and, force other retailers to play catch up.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Some sources even suggest that Q-commerce could be the end of the traditional shopping mall as we know it.
Wow. That's a pretty dramatic prediction.
It is.
But, I mean, it makes you wonder what else Amazon Q might be hiding.
Right.
Sounds like there's a lot more to this story than meets the eye.
Absolutely. Remember that third possibility we were talking about?
Yeah.
That Q might actually be like an internal project or
Yeah.
a set of tools that powers everything Amazon does behind the scenes.
Oh, right. Like a secret weapon
Yeah.
hidden within Amazon's tech empire.
That's where things get even more interesting. So this secret weapon idea, right? We
Yeah.
were just talking about Amazon Q maybe being something more behind the scenes,
Right, right.
powering everything that Amazon does.
Yeah. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, there are whispers that Q might actually be like a code name for a suite of advanced AI and IoT services
Okay.
that are tucked away within AWS.
Within AWS.
Yeah, Amazon's cloud computing platform.
Oh, right, right.
AWS is already used by tons of companies and developers, right?
Yeah. To run their websites and apps and everything else.
Everything, yeah.
Yeah.
So imagine if you give them access to even more powerful tools built around AI.
Okay. So we're not talking about like a gadget that you and I could buy,
Right.
but rather the technology that makes everything else smarter and more efficient.
Exactly. Imagine a system that can handle massive amounts of data,
Uh-huh.
run real-time analytics,
Okay.
and learn from everything that's happening across Amazon's ecosystem. It's almost like a central brain, right? That just keeps getting smarter and more powerful.
That sounds incredibly complex.
It is.
Like something out of a science fiction movie.
It kind of is.
Yeah.
But I can see how this could be a huge advantage for Amazon,
Yes.
especially with their ambitions for like Q-commerce and stuff like that.
Oh, absolutely.
Think about it.
Yeah.
To make those lightning-fast deliveries and the hyper-personalized recommendations a reality,
Yeah.
they need a system that can process information at an incredible speed
Uh-huh.
and make intelligent decisions on the fly.
So Q could be like the engine that drives all this innovation,
Right.
even if we never actually see it as like a consumer product.
Precisely. And the really interesting part is like,
Yeah.
what happens if Amazon decides to share these tools with other companies?
Oh, wow.
Imagine the possibilities, right?
Yeah.
If any developer could tap into the same AI technology that powers Amazon's own innovations.
That's a really intriguing point.
Yeah.
We're talking about potentially giving other companies access to the same tools that Amazon uses to like
Right.
dominate e-commerce, cloud computing.
Uh-huh.
I mean, who knows what else? Wouldn't that make them even more powerful?
It's a double-edged sword, right?
Yeah.
On the one hand, it could democratize access to AI
Okay.
and accelerate innovation across a ton of industries like healthcare, finance, education, you name it.
Yeah.
Imagine what developers could build if they had those tools at their disposal.
Right. It's like opening up the secret vault
Mm-hmm.
and letting anyone use the treasure inside.
Yeah, but on the other hand, wouldn't that also give Amazon even more influence over the entire tech landscape?
Right. Exactly.
It's a tough question.
Yeah.
And the answer is probably somewhere in between, right?
Mm-hmm.
Amazon clearly wants to be a leader in AI.
Yeah.
And offering these tools to others could be like a brilliant way to set the standard
Okay.
and shape the direction of the whole industry.
Okay, so we've got Amazon Q potentially being like a super smart device, a way to revolutionize retail with Q-commerce,
Right.
and now this secret suite of AI tools that could change the game for a lot of companies.
Yeah.
There's one thing that's been bugging me, though.
What's that?
You mentioned earlier that Amazon Q is already a real product offered by AWS,
Yeah.
specifically for developers.
You're right. I did say that.
So,
It's important to remember that even as we explore all these hypothetical scenarios for Q,
right.
there is a version of it that already exists.
Mm.
And this actual product, called Amazon Q,
Okay.
might hold the key to understanding how these different ideas connect.
So, wait, let me get this straight.
Yeah.
We've got Amazon Q, the hypothetical super device, Q-commerce, the potential retail revolution, Q, the internal suite of AI tools,
Yeah.
and now Amazon Q, the actual product for developers.
Uh-huh.
Are we just dealing with some confusing terminology here, or is there a connection?
I think it's more than just a coincidence. From what I've gathered, this Amazon Q for developers
Yeah.
seems to be all about
Yeah.
making AI integration easier and more accessible.
Uh-huh.
Allowing developers to build applications that are smarter and more intuitive.
Okay.
This could be the foundation for everything else we've been talking about.
Okay, I'm starting to see where you're going with this.
Yeah.
So this Amazon Q for developers, it's like the building block and all those other possibilities, the device, the retail revolution, the internal tools, they're all built on top of that.
Exactly. And by making these tools available to a wider audience, Amazon is essentially giving developers the power to extend the reach of Q far beyond what they could do alone.
Okay.
It's like crowdsourcing innovation on a massive scale.
So even if we never actually see a device called Amazon Q in our homes,
Right.
the technology behind it could still have like a huge impact on our lives through all the applications and services that developers create using these tools.
That's exactly the point.
Wow.
It's not just about one product. It's about an entirely new approach to building technology
Oh,
and
great.
using AI to create a seamless
Yeah.
and personalized experience across like every aspect of our lives.
Okay, so this developer product, this could be like the missing link that connects all these different interpretations of Amazon Q.
I think so.
But tell me a little bit more about how it actually works. Like what makes
Sure.
it so special?
Okay, imagine this. You're a developer, right? You want to build an app with some cool AI features,
Okay.
but you don't have a PhD in computer science.
Right.
Well, Amazon Q offers pre-trained models for things like natural language processing and image recognition.
Okay.
So you don't have to start from scratch.
Oh, wow.
It's like having a toolbox full of ready-made AI components that you can just plug into your app.
That sounds like a huge time saver.
Oh, absolutely.
Instead of spending months, even years building complex AI algorithms,
Right.
developers can just grab these pre-made models and customize them
Yeah.
to fit their specific needs.
Exactly. And that customization aspect is what makes it even more powerful.
Okay.
Let's say you want to build a chatbot that can understand customer queries about your product.
Okay.
Well, you could take a pre-trained model for natural language processing, train it on your specific product information and customer support data.
Okay.
And the result would be a chatbot that's much more accurate and helpful than anything we have today.
Okay, so now we're getting back into that science fiction territory where AI can anticipate our needs and provide personalized experiences.
Right.
But this time, it's not just about Amazon creating those experiences.
Mm-hmm.
It's about giving developers the tools to build them into their own apps and services.
That's right. And this brings us back to those connections we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
If developers are using Amazon Q to build smarter, more personalized applications, those applications could then be integrated into that hypothetical Q device we talked about.
Oh, right.
Right.
So the device becomes a hub for all these intelligent applications,
Exactly.
learning from our interactions with each one and creating a truly personalized experience.
Exactly. And those same AI tools could be used to optimize that Q-commerce system,
Right.
predicting what we want, managing inventory, and getting those deliveries to us in record time.
It's like a domino effect. Amazon releases this powerful set of AI tools.
Right.
Developers use them to build amazing applications.
Right.
Those applications feed into this hypothetical Q device and the Q commerce system,
Yeah.
and suddenly our whole world is transformed.
It's a compelling vision, isn't it?
It is.
And it's one that Amazon seems to be pursuing pretty aggressively.
Yeah.
But as with any powerful technology, there are also potential downsides to consider.
Right. We talked about the privacy concerns earlier, but what about the impact on jobs?
Yeah.
If AI can do so much of the work, what happens to the people who used to do those jobs?
It's a valid concern.
Yeah.
Some sources do suggest that Amazon Q in all its forms could lead to increased automation across a range of industries, which could displace workers and exacerbate existing economic inequalities.
So it's not all sunshine and roses then?
No, it's not.
There are some real societal challenges that we need to address.
Absolutely.
If we want to embrace this AI-powered future.
It's why it's so important to have these conversations, to understand the benefits and the risks, and think critically about the kind of future we want to create.
This has been an incredible journey so far.
It has.
And I'm sure there's even more to uncover.
Absolutely.
I can't wait to hear what other insights you've gleaned from the research about Amazon Q and what it might mean for the future.
Well, there's one more aspect we haven't really touched on yet.
Okay.
Remember how we were talking about Amazon Q as a potential suite of internal AI tools?
Yeah.
Well, there's an actual AWS product that might fit that description.
Okay.
It's called Amazon Q Developer.
Wait, so now there's a developer product called Amazon Q. And it's different from the Amazon Q that's already for developers.
Yeah, I know.
This is getting a bit confusing.
It's a bit of a tongue twister, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's an important distinction.
What?
This Amazon Q Developer seems to be all about using AI to enhance the software development process itself.
So instead of just using AI to build apps, we're now talking about using AI to build apps better.
Exactly. Think about it.
Yeah.
Coding can be a pretty tedious and error-prone process.
Oh, for sure.
But what if you had an AI assistant that could help you write cleaner, more efficient code, identify potential bugs before they become problems, even suggest improvements based on best practices?
That sounds like a dream come true for any developer.
Right.
Who wouldn't want a robotic coding buddy
Exactly.
to take care of all the grunt work?
And that's what Amazon Q Developer seems to be aiming for. It offers features like integration with popular coding platforms, real-time code analysis, and even automated code generation.
So it's like having a senior developer looking over your shoulder.
Yeah.
Constantly offering guidance and catching mistakes before they happen.
That's a great analogy.
Wow.
And the sources highlight that this is just the beginning. As AI technology continues to advance, we can expect these developer tools to become even more sophisticated and powerful.
Okay, I think I'm finally starting to wrap my head around all the different facets of Amazon Q.
Yeah.
We've got the potential consumer device, the revolution in retail, the internal AI tools, the developer product, and now this super-powered coding assistant.
Yeah.
It's like a multi-headed hydra of Amazonian innovation.
And I think that's the key takeaway here, right?
Yeah.
Amazon Q isn't just one thing. It's an umbrella term for Amazon's overarching strategy of embedding AI into every aspect of its business.
Right.
And, by extension, our lives.
Right. It's about creating this interconnected ecosystem where AI is the invisible hand guiding everything from the products we buy to the way those products are developed and delivered.
Exactly. And while there's still a lot we don't know about the specifics of Amazon Q, I think these sources give us a pretty clear picture of the direction they're headed in.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm both excited and a little terrified by what we've uncovered today. It's like we're standing on the edge of a technological revolution.
It really does feel that.
And it's hard to know exactly where it's going to take us.
Yeah, I think that's a healthy perspective to have.
Yeah.
We need to be aware of the potential and the potential risks of AI as it becomes more integrated into our lives.
Yeah.
But it's still a developing story, right?
Right.
Amazon's really still figuring out what Q will become.
Yeah, and in the meantime, the rest of us get to speculate, analyze, and try to understand what it all means.
Exactly.
I, for one, am fascinated to see how this all plays out.
Me too. And I think the most important thing we can do is stay informed.
Yeah.
Engage in these conversations.
Yeah.
And ask the tough questions about the role we want AI to play in our lives.
Absolutely, because the future of Amazon Q and
Yeah.
the future of AI as a whole,
Uh-huh.
it's not set in stone.
Right.
It's something we're all shaping together.
That's where the real power lies.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We've been unpacking this whole idea of Amazon Q, and it's honestly been a bit of a whirlwind.
I know, right?
Yeah, we've gone from AI assistants to super fast delivery to tools that could change how software is developed.
It's a lot.
It's a lot to process, yeah.
And I think what's so striking is that we're talking about changes that could impact pretty much every aspect of our lives.
Yeah.
It's not just about new gadgets. It's about potentially shifting the way we shop, work, even interact with the world around us.
It's hard not to feel a little overwhelmed by all the possibilities.
Both good and bad.
For sure.
So where do we even begin to unpack the potential implications of a world where Amazon Q in all its forms, becomes a reality?
Well, I think a good place to start is with the consumer experience.
Okay.
Imagine a world where you have this incredibly intuitive AI assistant that can anticipate your needs and make your life easier.
Okay.
It knows what you like, what you need, and it can seamlessly connect you to the products and services that fit those needs.
I mean, on the surface, it sounds amazing, right?
It does.
Effortless shopping, personalized recommendations, instant gratification.
Right?
But I can also see how that could create a sort of dependence on the system,
Yeah.
What happens if we become so reliant on Q
Right.
that we lose the ability to make decisions for ourselves or explore options outside of the Amazon ecosystem?
That's a really valid concern. And a few sources actually point to the potential for Q to create a very closed-loop system where consumers are subtly steered towards Amazon's products and services.
Even if there might be
Yeah.
better or more ethical alternatives out there.
It makes you think about the potential impact on smaller businesses and local economies.
Absolutely.
If everyone is shopping through this hyper-personalized Q system,
Yeah.
what happens to those independent stores?
Right.
The local farmers markets,
Mm-hmm.
the unique businesses that give a community its character.
It's a question that needs to be asked.
Yeah.
The rise of Q could definitely accelerate the trend toward consolidation, where a handful of tech giants
Right.
control more and more of the market.
Yeah.
And that could have really significant consequences for competition, innovation, and consumer choice in the long run.
So it's not just about convenience.
Right.
It's also about control.
Easily.
Who has it? Who benefits from it?
Ah.
And what are the trade-offs we're making as consumers when we embrace a technology like this?
Precisely. And this is where the conversation needs to go beyond just the features and the benefits of the technology itself. We need to talk about the values that are embedded in these systems,
Right.
the potential for bias, the impact on privacy, and the broader societal implications of handing so much control over to one company.
Those are some pretty weighty issues, I mean.
They are.
It feels like we've gone from talking about a cool new gadget to pondering the fate of the free market,
Yeah.
the future of society.
It's true, but that's the thing about technology, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's rarely just about the technology itself.
Right.
It's about how that technology interacts with humans, with our values, our institutions, and the world around us.
Yeah.
And Amazon Q, whatever it ultimately becomes, is a prime example of that.
So what can we do? Should we be afraid of Q? Should we try to resist it?
I don't know.
Or are there ways to embrace the benefits of this technology
Yeah.
while also mitigating the potential risks?
I don't think fear is ever a particularly productive response to change.
Okay.
What we need is informed engagement.
Okay.
As consumers, we need to be aware of how these systems work,
Uh-huh.
what data they collect, and how that data is used.
Okay.
We need to ask tough questions about privacy, security, and the potential for manipulation.
Yeah, and we need to be mindful of the choices we make.
Absolutely.
Every click, every purchase, every interaction with these systems contributes to their development and shapes the direction they take.
Right.
It's easy to feel like we're just along for the ride.
Yeah.
But we actually have a lot of power as consumers to influence how these technologies evolve.
I completely agree. And it's not just about individual choices either.
Right.
We need to have these conversations as a society to establish clear ethical guidelines for the development and deployment of AI,
Yeah.
to invest in education and training for a future workforce that will be increasingly impacted by automation, and to ensure that the benefits of these technologies are shared broadly, not just concentrated in the hands of a few.
This has been an incredible deep dive.
It has.
And I think we've only scratched the surface of what Amazon Q represents.
Yeah.
But I have to say, I'm walking away with a much deeper appreciation for the complexities of AI and the profound impact it's having on our world.
Me too. And I think that's the real value of these kinds of explorations.
Yeah.
It's not just about understanding a particular product or service.
Right.
It's about grappling with the bigger questions
Mm-hmm.
about the role of technology in our lives and the kind of future we want to create.
Absolutely. So to all our listeners out there,
Yeah.
we leave you with this. Stay curious, stay informed, and most importantly, stay engaged.
Yes.
The future is not something that just happens to us. It's something we create together.
And that's where the real power lies.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Amazon Q. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.